The World Health Organization did a study to see where the world's binge drinkers live, and the results are actually very, very surprising. So let's take a look at the very first graph. It looks at the percentage of drinkers that binge at least once a week, and at the top of that list you'll see Ireland.
Really?
In Ireland, 56% of the men say that they binge drink at least once a week. 20% of the women do the same. Laos is also on that list. 40% of men say they binge drink once a week. 22% of women say the same. In India, it's 25%. For women, it's 15%. And surprisingly enough, Russia is not that high on the list. As you can see, only 22% of men in Russia say they binge drink at least once a week, and only 6% of women do the same. So recently on the show, I had said that binge drinking is unique to the US because of our ridiculous restrictive laws on drinking. This study would prove me wrong, so I just want to point out how wrong I was. Okay, I accept it, and I'd like to correct myself.
God bless.
So there we go.
Well, we love facts on this program.
Yes.
So now let's talk about two stunning things on here. First of all, the fact that the Irish are the most drunk is not stunning. Let's just be honest. That's a common stereotype, right? It turns out, boy, has a stereotype ever been this right. Because binge drinking is defined as having at least 6 drinks in one sitting, whether it's a shot, it's a beer, wine, whatever.
I would die, by the way.
6 drinks is a lot, man.
Yeah.
I do, and I'm a big guy, I might do 6 drinks like 3 times a year, right? 4 times a year. Maybe I'm soft, whatever, right? I'm certainly not Irish, right? But look at that number, which, by the way, destroys the rest of the field. 56% of men binge drink once a week in Ireland. Once a week, 56% of men.
I know, it's amazing.
That's stunning, man.
So another interesting stat here is Vietnam.
Exactly.
In Vietnam, women outdrink men. 23% of women say they binge drink at least once a week, and only 22% of men say the same.
So let me add to that. So it turns out that this study is of only drinkers, meaning have you had a single drink in the last year, right? So there are some people, especially Muslims, for example, that never drink.
Right.
So they're not involved in this study, right? They're only people who ever drink, right? So in that category, there's only 2 countries where the women outdrink the men: Vietnam and the United Arab Emirates. Isn't that interesting?
Super interesting. So this next graph looks at how much do these nations' females consume alcohol. So how many drinks per week, okay? And it's specifically looking at women. In Bosnia, 35.
Yeah, I hate saying the second name too because I always butcher it. Bosnia and Herzegovina. But they're actually 2 different countries, but they get lumped together oftentimes. Mm-hmm. And in those countries, Bosnia is majority Muslim. There's a significant Christian population as well. But 35 blows away the field. Okay, so these are amount of drinks
per week.
Per week.
It's insane.
For women. And then look at the number of Muslim countries on that list. Turkey comes in number 2. Egypt comes in number 3. Hey, Russian women hanging in there at number 4. Nicely done. And then Algeria, Malaysia, Iraq, Kazakhstan, Borat, way to go, high five. And then Syria pre-war. And look at the U.S. is all the way near the bottom there at only 9 drinks,
you
right?
know, I love that they did this because I think for everyone, when you look at this kind of data, you kind of reflect on yourself and how much you drink. And I always thought, you know, especially as of late, that I was drinking too much. But there's no way I'm having 9 drinks a week. Like, that's just not going to happen, right?
Let alone 35 drinks a week.
That's incredible. That's not healthy. Like, let's...
Okay, and let's give a little bit more context here as well, because in the Muslim countries, it's not that everybody's a lush. In fact, 9 out of 10 women don't drink at all, right? But of the ones that drink, they drink a lot. So this is only among the drinkers, and that's why maybe the percentage is so high.
Yeah, so 1 in 3 female drinkers in the UAE report binging at least once a week, and so do 1 in 4 male drinkers. So it's interesting to see that happen in countries like that.
Yeah. Well, and you can't tell how drunk they are because they're underneath a hijab or whatever else might be in the particular country.
Yeah.
So you can't even tell if they're sauced. Unless they're stumbling around under the chador, like, hey, what's going on over there?
How much does the average alcohol consumer drink? In Mali, it's 39 per week, which is insane. Zimbabwe, 37. South Africa, 37. Egypt, 35. Nigeria, 34. Russia, 28. I mean, Ireland, 21. And USA, 15.
So the Irish have a higher percentage of people who binge drink, but when you look at the average alcohol that a consumer drinks, they're not at the top. So that's interesting. That's where Africa starts to really represent. We're proud of you, Africa. Way to come in there. But there's a lot of stereotypes that are busted in here. Like,
There are, yeah.
I wouldn't have had Zimbabwe or Nigeria anywhere near the top, let alone Egypt. So, credit to, I'm such a goofball. Credit to them for beating the Russians and the Irish.
Yeah.
Nicely done.